5-inch gun turrets, there were 5 people. There was the gun captain, there was the pointer, the elevation, the powder handler, the ammunition handler. And it took this coordinated effort to get the shells off as fast as you could. Destroyers, projectiles would travel 5 miles. Battleships went 25 miles. So you could shoot a long distance if you wanted to. Most of the time we were, if it was the invasion of Okinawa, we were firing at the beach. So that's where you used the land shells. Most of the time we were firing at planes. That's when you use the elevated gun and the shrapnel dispensing guns. Torpedoes were nice to have, but we only used them one time. We had the glorious project of sinking a tugboat, Japanese tugboat towing 5 barges of ammunition. We expended our 5 forward torpedoes at that. We were at Lady Gulf and we moved on up to Okinawa. At sunrise, you would hear the same call every morning. Attention all hands. Set condition 1. Set condition able. All hands man your battle stations. I never lost the thrill of hearing that. That brought the ship to life completely, because the Japanese kamikazes were typically coming in at sunrise, sunset, so they could come in with the sun behind their backs. We had air search radar, sea search radar. See the little bubble down here? That was the sonar search. Now the sonar operator was right, the bridge is right here, and the sonar operator was right behind the bridge, and they were looking for submarines. Sometimes they would pick up a submarine signal that turned out to be a big whale. You never knew which one was going to be which. Another little side thing, when we were moving from one place to another, we very often would pick up porpoises, and the announcement would be, we have visitors, and they would ride in our bow wake. They didn't have to swim, they'd just get in there and ride along with us. A free ride for them. We took a kamikaze, and someplace I have a picture of the ship after we took it. We were fortunate. I don't remember what direction we were headed, but our chief quartermaster was on the steering wheel. And at no direction, he was watching a kamikaze come right in at us. And at exactly the right second, he turned that ship sideways, hit right between the 2 stacks, landed on the live torpedoes. They didn't go off. We lost 5 people, but we lucked out. I think we had 23 Purple Hearts that day. Radiomen did not get any of them because we never knew what was going on out there. We were sealed in Radio Central right about here, and it had no portholes. It was sealed up. We had 4 radiomen on duty at a time, because you couldn't copy that code for more than an hour or so without being exhausted. So we had to have other people on Radio Central for various decoding purposes. Although we were receiving messages 24 hours a day, it never ever stopped. and they were classified as deferred, which would be death notices, that sort of thing. Routine, which was routine Navy type stuff. Priority was you were close to battle conditions of some kind. And then OU was urgent. And get on that message right away. They had to break it. Everything was coded. We never read anything that made sense to us. It was 5-letter code groups that we were receiving. And this just went on and on and on and on. We worked 4 hours on and 8 hours off. And of the 4 hours, you'd spend maybe an hour or 2 hours copying code. The rest of the time you were doing something else, routine stuff, maintaining equipment, keeping the place sort of clean. Talking about smoking, they discourage smoking now. When you opened the door to Radio Central, it was like walking into a room of blue smoke. Every radio position, it was a desk, and right to the left was a drawer. And in that drawer was a big ashtray. Right in the center of the ashtray was the coffee cup holder. Every radioman, I think, that I ever saw was sitting there with a cigarette in his mouth and a coffee cup in the coffee cup holder. Get my thoughts together. Oh, okay. General quarters, we shifted from 4 on, 8 off to 4 on, 4 off, which doesn't sound too bad until you talk about sleeping, because you never had a chance to get a night's sleep. So you were always working under 4 hour, 4 on, 4 hour off. Oh, another thing, you got proficient enough at copying code, and I always used my left ear to copy the code. You'd have your right ear on music. You'd listen to the music, and that code would just stream right through your brain. You never heard it, you never paid any attention to it. It was just automatic that it streamed in. So it was a different experience. But the radio group was a close group. We made our own coffee. The quality of the coffee depended on whose opinion, who made the coffee and what their opinion was of how you make coffee. We bought our cigarettes by 50 carton cases. So when you wanted a pack of cigarettes, you just take a pack of cigarettes out of them. I'm sure today there's no smoking in any radio room. Things have changed a whole lot. Another interesting thing, as destroyermen, the Navy Pier in Chicago has a destroyer come in every year. And I don't know how many of you have seen the program JAG on TV. That's the destroyer, guided missile destroyer 51. The name of it's Arleigh Burke. It was named after the commander of Destroyer Squadron 23. And he was called 31 Knot Arleigh, 31 Knot Burke. And we've taken tours of that. And we usually get an invitation to ex-destroyer sailors to come take a tour. And I remember the first time our tour guide said, "What do you notice the big difference in your ships and our ship?" Well, the size was different. But we said the big difference is you have air conditioning. We never had any air conditioning. Well, anyhow, we went through the kamikaze attack. We lost 5 people. We were there through the end of the war.